In other words, if I'm to go with what Sulaiman was asking you earlier about whether or not you can actually talk to your supporters. This is what you said, that in the face of the alleged provocation by the governor of Ekiti State, you had to speak to your supporters to calm them down. Are we then to hold you responsible if anything, untoward is to happen, say, by the fault of your supporters? Can we hold the APC responsible?
Let's get to the bridge and we'll cross it. We pray that we will never get to that point where people will have to be provoked.
Let's look at some of these issues.
We pray that we will never even contemplate getting to that
because we're trying to see what we can cover with time. Really not enough time in our hands. Issues should form the talking point of campaigns rather than casting aspersion on people's personalities rather, or persons. What are the issues as a member of the APC that has formed the talking of your party?
Yes, one of the most important issue is national security. We want to secure this country. As I speak to you, a section of this country is in the hands of Boko Haram.
Some would say it's rather easier said than done. How
No.
Do you have a template to achieving that?
We have, through careful planning, through practical disposition, through, working with other people across the world. Across the world. When this Boko Haram issue was coming, when we saw it coming, but the president said we can seek help. You can seek help abroad. It's not something you can fight alone. This thing is becoming an international menace.
Let's get it correctly. It was an advice from the APC to the government.
I wrote, I'm not saying APC. APC has been, I wrote severally, and APC has been saying that seek support from outside before the thing gets out. Well, initially they thought it was being manipulated by the opposition until something got out of hand. So that issue of security is the number one issue. Then the issue of corruption and impunity.
What did you make of the fact that, you talked about seeking help. What did you make of the fact that help was sought in some quarters which the country had assumed was friendly, but we were told that, we will help you, but not the way just the way you think. What did you make of that?
Something went wrong. There was a report. They said our own soldiers were not cooperating with them. And these people went back. And it got to a point that they cannot even support selling arms to our people, to our army, or to Nigeria, because the arms will end up in the hands of the...
What did you make of that? Did you think that it was...
Somebody's not in charge.
But that's just speculation.
Somebody's not. No, it's not speculation. It's not.
They said that.
Why will? No, it's not. It's not speculations.
They said
a lot of things are, have been going wrong. And you don't know. How come an army that was the strongest in Africa is now running away from a ragtag army? Somebody's wrong because there's no leadership.
Let's get to this.
That's the problem.
Benga says, when the provocation is targeted directly to supporters of a party, how can the party prevent retaliation by supporters?
Well, if they are not killing you, because you have to leave for you to go and make report to the police. But if they are clubbing you, you've seen one drop dead, another one. If you don't fight back, they can humiliate a whole lot of you and decimate a whole lot of you.
Do you think that politicians, because I also see another one that they speak from both sides of the mouth, in terms of our faith in the judiciary, didn't that we go or side the judiciary when we think it will suit us, and otherwise when we think otherwise?
I've told you that we're in the opposition. And we're
not in different states.
And we're helpless.
We also are the helm in different states.
This is we don't control.
We're looking at every level.
Let me just cite an example. Governor may be the #1 security officer in Lagos, but the commissioner of police does not take orders from the governor. Let me tell you, We put up, you see, they're fighting from all corners. We put up a website where ordinary Nigerians can make a contribution to Buhari campaign organization, funds. It was shut down after 24 hours by NCC.
NCC had a press briefing.
It's from the establishment.
No, that's not entirely correct.
Let's just leave it.
No, that's not entirely correct. They had a press conference and they said no, that after all, they gave the Lagos State governor permission some time ago. But now they say all political parties. So it's not as though that NCC is targeting APC. That's the press conference that they held. But
they must have something to say.
The regulators,
they must have something to say.
Until they're here,
if the MD or CEO
are you saying that if your party is doing something possibly not in tandem with, with laid down rules, because people are afraid to be labeled being partisan, they shouldn't do what they need to do? Is that what you're saying?
I want to find out what is wrong with having a website to make contributions. We've done that in the past, even during President.
What NCC has said, if I heard them very correctly, was that they didn't fault the political parties. They faulted the agents, the agencies, for not carrying out certain requirements before they went ahead, to claim that they could serve their clients.
Okay,
Did you listen to that perspective as well?
Let's just leave it for want of time. But they're all just political gimmicks, that won't get anybody anywhere. We are not too young in this game. They are fighting from all corners. Anything they can lay their hands on, they are using it to fight. Yesterday, let me tell you, a TV station was running a damaging documentary on our candidate, our presidential candidate. After running several hours of documentary on them, they put up an opinion poll on our candidate. And you know what happened? Our candidate beat with 70%. 70%. They quickly dropped the website.
Well, to the extent that
they're working from all corners, but whatever they bring up is working against them.
Tell us, how does it work? Because, now you say that the governors are not in control of the police. But we've seen different governors win elections, even though they're not in the ruling party.
No,
so is there no positive in that? How does it work?
We're not talking about, let me not write off all the commissioners of police or the police entirely. Because if I come here and tell you that police is not working for everybody, then I will be deceiving myself, and the truth is not in me. We have commissioners of police that are very decent. They understand that the governor is number one security officer. They're not the one that will take pages of newspaper and be abusing the governor, challenging the governor, using police to club the governor. It depends on the individual. If you go to begin to stretch a log too far, then you have yourself to blame. That's why we're worried. If you give us a decent commissioner of police, we have had commissioners of police in Lagos and never had any cause to complain. But if you give us somebody we know his antecedents, somebody we know that can take pages of newspapers and begin to abuse the governor and block the governor's, seize the governor's lodge, seize the state assembly and all kinds of intimidation, then there's need for us to get worried. That's why we're worried.
But so far, about the preparations and the campaigns, do you think that parties are trying to heed or uphold that they talked about, what they signed, the accord that they agreed to, that look, no matter what happened, let's maintain peace as much as we can?
Well, we are into the accord, and we believe that it's going to work. But if you set up something, you have to make it work. You have to remove anything that will be an impediment, anything that will create a problem, anything that will be a cog in the wheel or progress. You can't be signing with probably your right hand and you're using your left hand to fan the embers of destruction and intimidation, repression, oppression, and oppression. Nobody will accept that. It will just be a mere letter, a mere words that cannot translate to actions, or any good deeds. So if they want to play, real games, we are ready. But if they decide to use police to force us to do something, then you may have a problem. If they decide to use the police they have used to dismantle, police were standing on the back and they dismantled all the adverts on the poles, even on state roads. And they were putting their own. You put posters in the night, they go all around Lagos and remove it and put their own. That's what we're seeing. And they want to provoke us in Lagos to war so that everything will be destroyed.
And incidentally, they started accusing
that's
Lagos institution of doing that first. And now you say, no, this is what's happening.
Nobody. They came to Lassa. Lassa said, there's a way you do these things. We don't control the big billboards. You know, big billboards are erected by clients, They put it up and they use it for some, they will just be paying Lassa. You don't just go there and dismantle it. If you have a glow advert on a big billboard, you go and remove it because you want to. There are rules.
Even though it wasn't.
You come into a state, you go to an agency, get what you want.
But it's interesting you say you're speaking to your supporters to ensure that they all maintain peace, even in the face of provocation. So
we will calm them down, but we are not cowards anyway. Nobody has a monopoly of these things. We need to make it clear. Nobody has a monopoly of violence.
All right.
If they try to intimidate us in such a way that we will not even go for the free and fair process, then we'll tell them that nobody has a monopoly of violence.
The last we checked, the federal government has monopoly of violence in this country.
Yes.
They have unless of course you're saying that you have prepared an army somewhere.
No,
and
deploy it to fight criminals. Deploy it to fight Boko Haram. Deploy it to fight corruption. But don't use it on ordinary Nigerians that are innocent, that obey the rules of the game.
But whoever doesn't obey the rules. Whoever doesn't obey the rules.
Well, we have himself to blame. The law is there. And we will not support anybody. We don't support illegality.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Igbokwe. We'll be back after this break. Please don't go away.